All right, so now I'm really excited to introduce our featured speaker for today. That would be Mark Lowry, who comes all the way from the OC Food Bank. So put your hands together for Mark Lowry.
Thank you. Good morning. And I say I've got the unlikely job of alleviating hunger in Orange County. And maybe unlikely because when we think about the issue of hunger, a visual image comes to mind, often a picture that we've all seen of a child from Africa with a distended belly and dangerously skinny arms and legs suffering the obvious consequences of famine. And clearly that's not the condition in Orange County, but in spite of that we have 450,000 or so people that live here that are officially considered hungry. And hungry not because there's any absence of food in our community, but hungry because in our community hunger is a symptom of poverty. And we have about 450,000 people that live here that are officially poor by the government standards. So every month have to make difficult choices between which bills to pay. And since most people choose to pay that rent or mortgage first to make sure that they continue to have a roof over their heads, then have to sit down at that dining table and figure out whether to pay the gas bill or the electric bill or the water bill or the phone bill, to put gas in the car or buy a bus voucher if they don't have a car. If they do have a car, pay for legally required auto insurance. You'll be able to fill that prescription if they went to a doctor and were provided one. You'll have money for clothes and still have some money left at the end of the month for food. And food is one of those items in the household budgets that's a little flexible. People can buy more or less food. They can eat out more or prepare food more at home. There's this weird intersection between hunger and obesity. It's also often the case that better quality food, if you visit the beautiful Whole Foods market at Tustin, most spectacularly beautiful market I've ever been to before, but about the only thing I can afford there is the coconut water. Right? But there's a restaurant right down the street from my work, and you can get 2 tacos for 99 cents. And if you're smart enough to go on Taco Tuesdays, you can get 3 tacos for 99 cents. So if you're a low-income family trying to stretch your budget, you go to Whole Foods where you can get locally produced, organic, healthy, nutritious, natural foods, or do you go on Taco Tuesdays and get 3 tacos for 99 cents? So we find that less expensive food is often absent or higher in calories and fats and more heavily processed. So again, a hunger in a community like ours is simply a symptom of poverty and forces people to make difficult choices between which bills to pay and what kind of food they're going to eat. And the people that are affected by this don't always meet the stereotype. I'm often asked, do you serve homeless people? And we do. But at the food bank where I work, homeless people represent fewer than 5% of the people that get food from the food bank. So in excess of 95% of the people are other than homeless. So as you might imagine, some are unemployed temporarily. Some are disabled, maybe a temporary disability or permanent disability. The 2 largest populations that we serve at the food bank are people that are among the working poor, people that work full-time in jobs that we find important and necessary in our society, but not important or necessary enough to pay a living wage, and seniors on fixed incomes. Really a changing demographic. I'll just share briefly, we have a food box program at the food bank. Some of you have come to help package those boxes. And 10 years ago, it was almost all families with children that received those food boxes. And today, it's almost all seniors who receive those food boxes. When we're just looking at the aging of the baby boomers, they call it the silver tsunami, the huge wave of people that will become seniors over the next 20 years. And we're finding in many cases are outliving their savings or certainly having inadequate financial resources to meet their most basic needs. So a little bit about the issue and who's at risk, and then some of the things that you might be able to do to help alleviate hunger in our community. Some of you have already been to a charity like ours, a food bank, to help package food boxes. And that's an important resource, but we also need that food. So to the degree that you sponsor or contribute to a food drive, those are the sorts of resources that organizations like ours need. There's a new initiative in Orange County called Waste Not OC that's really championed by our own Orange County Healthcare Agency. The public health officer for the county of Orange had an awakening a couple of years ago where he discovered the issue of hunger. And as the county's doctor, responsible for the health of 3.2 million Orange County residents, and now aware that hunger was a public health risk, felt compelled to do something about that. And since he works in the environmental health division with all the health inspectors that go to all the hotels and restaurants and theme parks and catering services that serve warm meals to 3.2 million people in Orange County, and imagining that a lot of potentially good usable food was thrown away each day, he took it upon himself, really singularly, to try to challenge the food industry in Orange County that has this prepared and perishable foods to figure out safe ways to capture that and get that to people who need it. So that's been piloted in Anaheim and has now expanded to the city of Orange. The hope and expectation is that will grow. So next time you eat out, you might ask the restaurant where you eat, what do they do with their surplus food? Because we want that, make it the cool kids club, for restaurants and hotels and others, to want to be environmentally friendly, just not feed hungry people as if that wasn't important enough. But we don't want that food in our landfills. The higher and better use of that is to get that food to people who need it. So you can volunteer, you can contribute to a food drive. I'd encourage you to be politically active. The truth is our politics are supposed to reflect our values as a society. And in some cases you might agree that they do, in other cases that they don't. But on just one simple issue, since we're standing in Irvine had a living wage ordinance. You could argue that it was wonderful or flawed, but they removed the living wage ordinance. And when many other communities were becoming more progressive in adopting them, Irvine, which was one of the first to the table, took a different approach and withdrew that living wage ordinance. Argue whether that was a good or bad thing. But we do know, again, since two of the largest populations served at the food bank are seniors on fixed incomes and the working poor, is that we have many, many people in our community that are working full time. And two of the things that make Orange County so unique is our extraordinarily high cost of housing. In every survey ever done, we rank as one of the 5 most expensive housing markets in the nation. And what that means to everybody in this room is that each of us need to spend a larger percentage of our income on housing than people do in almost any other community in the nation. And if you're making $10 an hour or $20 or $22 or $23,000 a year, that's going to affect you more dramatically than somebody making $50 or $100 or $200,000 a year. The other thing that makes it unique is our large tourism industry. Because of our fine theme parks, because of our wonderful weather, because of our beach communities, the tourism industry is one of our largest job markets and one of the fastest growing job markets in our economy. But we all know what most of those jobs pay, around $10 an hour. So you can do the math real quickly and calculate whether you and your family could live on $10 an hour or not. And if you can't live on $10 an hour, how can we expect others to? So living wage, becomes a big issue. Because at the Orange County Food Bank and charities like ours, we're very proud of people that help donate food and help package food and help distribute food. It's a necessary thing. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? We all want people to be self-actualized. We all want people to be self-realized. We all want people to be happy in life. But until those first needs are met, the basic needs for food and shelter, nobody can become self-realized, self-actualized, or happy in life. So it's important for us to meet those basic needs first and to invest in that. So volunteer at an organization like a food bank or a food pantry, contribute food, consider progressive ways in which we're trying to capture food that has historically been thrown away by asking your restaurant, whether they're participating in Waste Not OC or not, whether they would consider capturing that food and getting that to people who need it. And look at ways in which you can become involved in the political process. I work at a food bank who thought its only job, this was universal, not unique to us, was simply to get as much food out as we could and get in as much food to people as we could. We've seen our role in the community broaden. We're now concerned not only about the quantity of food that we hand out to people, but the quality of food that we hand out to people. And we know that we're never going to be able to get enough food donated for everybody who needs it. Right? We can give somebody a bag of groceries today, and it meets an immediate and a necessary need. But in 3 days, that bag of groceries is gone, and they're going to need another bag. And then another bag, and then another bag, and then another bag. So until we grapple with some of those larger social issues, and those are affordable housing, living wage, and universal health care, we're going to continue providing bags of groceries to people every 3 or 4 days. And I'll provide a moment for questions and answers, but since we're in Irvine, I'll share a story with you as well from a friend of mine that does business here in Irvine. He's a third-generation Japanese-American farmer. He and his brother own and operate Orange County Produce. And I see somebody smiling. Others may have heard of A.G. Karamura. He's very prominent in our community. And I've known A.G. for 25 years, and he goes out and speaks as well. And one of the things he often does is he'll swing by one of his fields in Irvine before speaking engagement and pick a couple samples of produce from his field. And he'll hide them behind a podium. And then at the appropriate time, he'll give a little introduction and talk about his life. He grew up in a farming family, again, third generation Orange County Japanese-American farming family. And all of his experience, all of his education, all of his training in life is directed towards him being a successful farmer. He'll point out he's not a charity worker, he's a businessman. He can't pay his employees, he can't support his family unless he's successful in bringing to harvest his crop and selling it. And he'll describe how he prepares a field, and he's picked up several fields that you see off the freeway as you're driving down the 5 today. He'll talk about preparing a field for planting and how he might go to a nursery and buy little starts and how those starts are all planted in the same field in the same way on the same day. And then it's his job to make sure that that entire crop gets the same amount of water and mineral and nutrients so that the entire crop flourishes. And that how he tries to invest his efforts equally in that entire field and that entire crop. But then he'll pull from behind the podium 2 onions or stalks of celery. He'll hold up that first stalk of celery and it's green and lush and rich. And the other one is much smaller and brown and kind of wimpy. And he said, I got both of these as starts from the same nursery on the same day. They were planted in the same field in the same way. And to the best of my efforts, I tried as hard as I could to invest the same energy in nurturing both of these stalks of celery. But he said, this one that is big and green and rich and lush, I picked from the middle of the field, and it flourished. This other stalk of celery, I picked from the edge of the field. And as hard as I tried, it never fully benefited from my input. And he'll pause for a moment and ask the question, and how can our children be any different? That on the edge of society, there are children, people, who never fully benefit from the inputs of our society. And the consequences of that are profound and lifelong. So to the degree we're able by inviting people like you to be involved in helping meet those Maslow'ian basic needs of people, to make sure that they're provided the opportunity to grow and flourish and become self-actualized and self-realized and happy. Not because a bag of groceries will ever do that for somebody, but without that, nobody can become self-sufficient without first receiving that bag of groceries. So I'll pause. Any questions as we wrap up? Please.
Can you explain how a restaurant might work with your organization? Can you give us a case study of one of your better restaurants? How often do they give food? How much food?
Yeah, Cheesecake Factory is a real champion in that. They're a pretty big operation. The first meeting we had where we revealed this idea, there were 2 immediate barriers or obstacles or objections. People said, we can't donate food because the health department won't allow us. And Dr. Handler stood up like I'm standing in front of you and said, so I am the health department. And I'm telling you that not only can you, but we want you to. So there's just an urban myth that people aren't allowed to, that the health department won't allow it. In fact, in the health department code for the state of California, they actually write in a process for people to donate food. So it's written right into the CAL code. The second concern and objection is I'm going to get sued if somebody were to get sick from food that came from our restaurant. And of course, we want to make sure that that never happens. And the fact that the health department is involved in designing this, food safety is their first and foremost priority. So they're going to make sure that food safety is paramount in anything that happens with regards to this Waste Not OC initiative. And there are Good Samaritan laws in place, both at the federal government and the state level, to protect donors from any ill effect that comes from a donation made in good faith. So there are legal protections for them as well. So that we've identified a primary organization, a group called Food Finders, and that's all they've done in their history, is go around and pick up little donations, primarily from restaurants, but also some from grocery outlets. And they've got trained volunteers who have been trained on safe food handling. They got containers to make sure that they know to check the temperature of the food when they receive it, and they keep it safe while they're transporting it to a place that can use it. In most cases, we don't want food like that to come back to a food bank like mine. Waiting for some charity to come to the food bank in Garden Grove and pick that up and then take it back to an operation or a family that can serve it. The clock is ticking on this food. So the goal is to get it right from that restaurant or that catering service or that theme park or that sports venue to an organization in their community that serves warm meal to people. So now at some point we will fill up the pipeline of soup kitchens, shelters, group homes, and halfway houses that serve warm meals to people. They're not homeless, to people. But most of the charities in Orange County and in any community aren't preparing warm meals to people. They're putting food in a bag or a box and giving to a family to take home and prepare their own foods. So right now, that pipeline is not filled. There's room for more food to come into that system. But at some point, we hope that we will be getting so much of this prepared food that we will get the soup kitchens, the group homes, the halfway houses, and the shelter, all the food that they can handle. And then we're going to need to figure out how to put that in a form that it can go to the other 90% of the charities in Orange County that put food in a bag or a box for people to take home. And in that case, we know what it's going to take, and it starts getting more complex and costly. But it would have to go to a central kitchen, where it could be repackaged and frozen, and then provided to your local church or community center or family resource center.
Can you give us some idea of the kind of volume you're currently doing?
Yeah, it started relatively small. It's one of those things where we needed one restaurant to say yes. Everybody said, ooh, we can't do that. It sounds too complex. Yeah, but the second you got one restaurant that figures out how to make it work, they become the example. In fact, now, the way it's working in this two-city pilot is that when a health inspector goes and does their biannual visits to a restaurant or potential donor, and they see that food is being thrown away, they said, did you know there's this Waste Not OC initiative, and would it be okay if somebody from Waste Not OC calls you to follow up? And most people are going to tell their health inspector yes, because they don't want to tell their health inspector no, right? Not a good idea. So then the person that calls them then is not some charity guy, because I figure out, I don't know kitchen operations. I don't know the secret handshake. So, what we got are people that are retired. We've got a current restaurateur and several other retired restaurateurs that have volunteered to be on a little group that will make those follow-up phone calls because they know how that kitchen works and they can't be bluffed or stumped into saying we can't do it. They can say, of course you can do it, and this is how. So that's how the follow-up is occurring now. They're at about 300,000 pounds now for the last year and a half, and started very, very, very slow. And now it's really ramping up. So from a food bank perspective, that's not a huge amount of food. We distributed over 20 million pounds of food last year. So by comparison, that's not huge. But we see that it's important to do, both because there is huge potential there, and we see that on the trajectory it is catching on, and we're getting each month it's proportionately more than the month before. It's important for waste diversion, for our environment, and it's one of the few resources that we haven't tapped into in the past. So it's just something that we absolutely have to do. Please.
So the downstream for this project, the food gets donated to whom and how does it get distributed?
So right now it is being donated to Food Finders, a charity that has some experience in handling food like this. So they're the recipient of the donation, but then they take it directly from the donor to one of the soup kitchens, shelters, group homes, or halfway houses that have people on site that are served 3 meals a day. So they get it right to a place where it can be served within hours. It's a very efficient model. So, any other questions? Oh, please.
I'm willing to bet that the job you're doing, you're not getting rich.
Sure. Yeah. That's a safe bet.
I just want to personally thank you for your passion.
Oh, thank you.
All the intelligence that you're bringing to your work. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's amazing work. I mean, we get to work with food donors, financial donors, low-income, vulnerable families, 375 charities that come to our food bank to get food who are overwhelmingly wonderful people, media, elected officials. It's a pretty fantastic opportunity. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for Mark Lowry. We really appreciate you coming and sharing all that amazing information with us. So if any of you have friends in the restaurant, industry or just things you want to donate, then we personally accept donations here every time we meet. So if you want to bring your food here, we'll make sure it goes to the right place, or you can get in touch with Mark at the end, right? I'm assuming? Perfect. Okay, so everyone please stand for another song.
Stretch. All right, we're going to do Winter Wonderland. Here we go. Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is the new bird. Singing a song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, man. You can do the job when you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire. Face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow, we can build a snowman and that he's a circus clown. We'll have lots of fun with Mr. Snowman until the other kitties knock him down. When it snows, ain't it thrilling? Though your nose gets a chillin'. We'll frolic and play the Eskimo way, walking in a winter wonderland. We're still going? Walking in a winter wonderland. That's the last slide? All right, that was good.
All right, thank you.
The thrill of live music.
All right, I guess Kevin's kids know it's story time. So Kevin Baker is here to come and share one thing he knows with us.
One thing you know. Testing. Thanks, Tabby. All right. You guys behave, okay? Best behavior? Everyone's looking.
You look great.
So I was really racking my brain on this one, kind of what to talk about. And, December, it's a really religious month, and so I wanted to talk about that a little bit and kind of my view on the one thing that I know. One book that I've been reading recently is The Happiness Hypothesis by Jonathan, I think it's Haidt or Hatt. I don't know if you guys have read it, but it's a great book. You should go out and get it. It's wonderful. But he talks about and kind of dives into the human condition and what makes us happy. And, it's complex is the takeaway. There's lots of different things that make us happy. But one of the things that he touches on is religion and the place that it's and how it shaped us as a species. Religion, it has a lot of benefits. It helps us focus on outside of ourselves, and it helps us. It does that by having us focus on, in that case, like a higher power or some supernatural force. It's a mechanism that's functional. It helps kind of make so that you become less selfish, thinking about others. It improves perspective by realizing that we are not always in control, that we are part of something larger than ourselves. It cultivates a sense of awe or spirituality, and in this sense, this awe and wonder is something that it helps us create joy in our lives. You know what else creates joy in your lives? Little guys. This is joy in lives. But every culture throughout history has some sort of religion or rituals that they follow, and religion is something that evolved with us as a species, and it did so with a purpose. It helps promote togetherness and selflessness. The benefit from this perspective here is really cooperation. It helped us survive. It helped us thrive. Let's see, my words being a little funky here. But over the last 1,000 years. I mean, our understanding of the universe is just grown by leaps and bounds. Breakthroughs in physics has allowed us to understand that all the countless stars in the sky are just other suns with other planets in it, just like our own. Breakthroughs in biology, understanding DNA, understanding the mechanism and how we evolved and how we got here, really opened our eyes into a new way of understanding of our humanity and how we got here. And really, with all these increases, it's left little room for God, and we're seeing that as a trend. We're seeing more and more people identifying as non-religious, and it's something that's going to continue to grow. But to tie it all together, the one thing I know, I mean, as a species, we still evolved. We evolved with religion. We evolved with a sense of needing community and to have a sense of togetherness, to have a sense of awe, to look outside of ourselves, to be selfless. and try to have a sense of purpose. You guys have fun playing tag? I lost my thought here. But the big takeaway, though, is that this is still a part of who we are. We want to have experiences where we can come together like this, sing some great songs, and be part of a community. And I love, the one thing I know is that what we're doing here at Sunday Assembly is that it's going through understanding our roots of where we've come from as a species, as an organism, and still having this need to sing and laugh and see kids, play around and jump. But the key thing, though, is doing it together. So I appreciate everyone being here to make this a success and keep doing this. So that's my one thing I know, guys.
Thank you, Kevin and Kennedy and Caden, right?
That's right.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so this next couple minutes is a time that we take every Sunday that we just sit in just a couple minutes of silence and think about whatever comes to your mind. So I'm going to keep an eye on the clock because 2 minutes can seem like a lifetime for some people. So let's go ahead and sit in silence for a couple minutes. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and pass it. So as you all know, as I've mentioned before, Sunday Assembly is completely volunteer ran and ran completely by donations. So we're going to pass the hat, so to speak. I don't know if we have hats this time or not. We did last time.
And we can also take cards.
Yes, we can take through PayPal?
Yep.
We have a little swiper, so if you have a card. And another idea that we can do, can we do the monthly things yet or not yet?
I think it's kind of a Prince of Free Thought, which is about to become,
Right. We can set up afterwards if you'd like a monthly donation. You don't even have to think about it. Just, $5-10 a month comes out automatically of your account. So if you're interested in doing that, that would be really wonderful. The more we can get on a regular schedule would be better. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking and let you go ahead and take the basket and pass it around. These proceeds pay for this venue, for the food, and for a couple of social media fees and things like that. So we really are grateful for anything you can share with us. Also, please take this time to turn to your neighbors and say hi. And behind you. Does everyone here have a candle? Does everyone here have a candle? Huh? Mark, Bill's passing them around. If you don't have a candle, raise your hand and you'll get one. Michelle up to the podium to give us our monthly announcements.
Thank you very much, Tabby. Do you guys need me to use the microphone, or can I project enough? You do well. Yay!
So I'll just
You know, it's not just my sweater that's loud. Okay, December 2015 announcements. Next month is all, I don't like this. Next month is all about you, which it always is, but we're trying to make next month a little bit special. We're going to be breaking script with the help of Peter Montoya. Who's Peter Montoya?
the reading.
Peter! Yay, Peter! Peter's going to come back and do something cool and interesting. He is going to guide us through fun, emphasis on fun, small group discussions, and how we can make the most of our Sunday assembly group in 2016. So this is a chance for you guys to bring in your ideas and help make them actually happen, bring them to fruition. So that's a really good meeting to come to. That's going to influence what we do for the entire next year. One of the mottos of Sunday Assembly is to help often, and your very own Sunday Assembly group needs a little help right now. We are looking for volunteers to fill the following position: treasurer, that means counting up all these wonderful donations and helping us plan for the money side of things, and secretary. And I know all of you guys at least went to elementary school and know how to read and write and count on your fingers, 1, 2, 3, whatever. So you guys all have the skill to do this. We will work together. We will make sure that you are not left hanging.
What does the secretary have to do?
Take
Board
notes
meetings,
at the
take
meetings,
notes,
and is there anything else?
That's the main thing.
That's it.
Take notes and then email them out to the appropriate people.
Well, we use Slack, but it's okay.
Yes.
Put them on Slack.
So these are not big things, but they are very important things. So we really would like somebody to come up and talk to us at the end of the meeting about that. We are also looking for a temporary replacement for Tabby. And we do not need you to gestate. We merely need you to help out with social media. So that means posting our happenings to the meetup groups. Is that right?
Meetup, Facebook, Twitter, if you like Twitter.
Yeah, so maybe just a few months.
Yeah, just till March or April.
Yes. And
Or if you'd like to keep doing it, I'm happy to.
but that is a nice way to dip your toe in, and that's going to be very small amounts. If you go online, you can do this for us. All right, we are going to be merging Friends of Free Thought and Sunday Assembly, which are our two parent groups, are going to be merging our meetup accounts, which will make it easier to have one-stop place to check online and find out what's happening. We will send a message right before the merger giving you the link for the new meetup accounts. And this is just going to make it easier to promote volunteer opportunities and just, like I said, have one place to check to find out what you can get involved in. Our next planned volunteer opportunity is Saturday, January 2nd, just in time for you guys to all have recovered from your New Year's Eve.
Probably not.
Saturday, January 2nd at Los Cerritos Wetlands Habitat. I understand that fresh air is a marvelous cure for hangovers. Kevin. This is just a show-up kind of opportunity where you're going to learn, come visit, learn about the local wetlands, how to help the environment, and support the Aquarium of the Pacific. So again, that's the morning of Saturday, January 2nd. Also, please mark your calendars for January 30th for our next Common Initiative event, where you can directly make a difference.
The Compton Initiative, sorry.
I'm getting there. Compton Initiative event, what did I say?
Common.
Oh, no, common, not common, Compton. Compton is not common. Compton Initiative event where you can directly make a difference in the community by doing some cleanup, applying a much needed coat of paint, and it says here on a building in Compton, but I suspect that they actually have some specific building in mind. So mark your calendars, show up to our group, and please don't start randomly painting. Come to the Friends of Free Thought meetup for more information on the Wetlands and Compton event. When is the meetup mergers going to happen?
Next month. Next month, yeah.
Okay, so right
wanna
now
give
you
you
can
notice.
check the Friends of Free Thought, that's tongue twister for you, meetup, and very soon we will have a combined meetup. After the meetup, after our meeting today, oh, leave that to last. The parents' small group will also be meeting on January 2nd. That's at 10:30 in the morning at the Starbucks on Alton and Culver. Parents' small group, do you bring your kids to that?
You can bring your kids.
You can bring your kids to
Or
that.
just a childish attitude.
Or a childish attitude.
You don't have to be a parent to attend.
Yes, you just have to want to hang out with people who are either with children or childlike or childish. And lastly, after this meeting now, as always, some of us will be gathering at Sioux Plantation for lunch. We have maps and coupons. That's it, unless somebody has something else they are burning to share. All right, I hope we will see you at lunch. Check your meetups.
Thank you, Michelle. So just to reiterate, next month is going to be very different. We're not going to have a speaker up here like we normally do, like the Mark kind of person. But Peter is going to split us up into little groups so we can discuss. So if you're really shy in front of small groups, we're just warning you ahead of time. But if you shine in front of small groups, then please come and bring lots of people. Okay, so I just wanted to thank you guys. I'm holding my Kindle here. For coming, and it's been a really great month for me. November is a month for being grateful for what you have, and I think it's kind of cool that December it's followed up with December, which is a month of giving, and of course receiving, but giving. And so we focus on what we can get for people. We get shopping lists, Christmas lists. We get people to give us their lists, and we go and buy gifts. There are some people who, and I read this almost every day. I'm a part of an Orange County moms group, and there are some people who every Christmas you read these sad stories of how something happened and they can't buy their children Christmas gifts each year. And I always wish that I had extra money that I could just say, here, I'll help you buy your kids gifts. But so in the spirit of having Mark here, I just wanted to thank him for reminding us that there are people out there who struggle, and maybe even some people in this room, and just know that we're here as a community to help. And in any way, if there's any way you can imagine that we can help you, please come to one of us, or you can send us an email if you want it to stay anonymous, then we're happy to keep it anonymous. But we're here as a community to help build each other up. So that is my little speech. So I think we have one more song, and we are going to. Mark has done a great deal of planning for a little candle lighting ceremony. So we're going to sing one last song, and as we do, it's a fun song, so I know you're going to want to dance. But if you can dance in a little circle around here, like get together and form a circle while you're singing, that would be really wonderful because it will lead us right into the next little part, which is the candle lighting. All right, take it away, Kent.
All right. We're going to do that classic and very religious Christmas holiday song, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. I don't think she enjoyed that experience. Okay. Are we going to circle up first and I'll start, or what?
Go ahead and start.
Okay.
I'll help.
Grandma got... Grandma got ran over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandpa, we believe she'd been drinking too much eggnog, and we told her not to go. But she forgot her medication, and she wandered out the door into the snow. When we found her Christmas morning at the scene of the attack, there were hoof prints on her forehead and incriminating claws marks on her back. Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandma, we believe it's not Christmas without Grandma. All the family is dressed in black. Did I get the wrong verse? I just can't help but wonder, should we open up her gifts or send them back? Now we're all so proud of Grandpa. He's been taking this so well. See him in there watching football, drinking beer and playing cards with Cousin Mel. Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandpa, we believe. Now the goose is on the table, and the pudding made of fig, and the blue and silver candles that would just have matched the hair in Grandma's wig. I warned all my friends and neighbors, you better watch out for yourselves. They should never give a license to a man who drives a sleigh and plays with elves. Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandpa, we believe. One more time! Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandpa, we believe. But as for me and Grandpa, we believe. Thank you!
All right, now Mark is going to begin our lovely little ceremony. I think we have lights that need to go down, maybe?
Oh, yeah, that's my job.
And if everybody kind of circle around facing you, that would be helpful. And we're going to do this and hope we don't set off the fireworks. If we do, it just gets a little more interesting. Tomorrow, for those of us here in the Northern Hemisphere, is the winter solstice. The days have been getting shorter. The nights have been getting longer. And for us right here, it's a little subtle. The changes happen incrementally. Last week I was with my sister in northwestern Washington State, and it gets dark around 4 p.m. and the sun doesn't come up till almost 8. So I was a little disoriented by that. But of course, other places the effect is even more extreme. But people have been marking this longest night, shortest day for a very, very long time. We think of Stonehenge. We've probably seen pictures of what they call the observatories in Yucatan. And there's a place in Germany called Gossig that's about 7,000 years old that has this opening that points to where the sun rises on the winter solstice. Because as a people, we don't generally like the darkness too much. We can't see each other in the dark. It gets cold. The crops have stopped growing. The animals are getting ready for the really hard part of the winter that's coming. And so we get together to observe that and say, you know, it may be getting dark, but we're not alone. We're in this together. It may be cold, but we can share the warmth of our fire together. We are still a community, even through all of this, and not even through this, but at this time, it's the most important time for us to be together. And of course, today we have electric lights and instant communication and drive-through Starbucks. So we don't necessarily worry about those things, but still in our core, we can identify with those things. And I'm so delighted that Mark spoke about the importance of community and the analogy that he gave us about the crops and being in the heart of that growing community as opposed to being on the fringes. And how Kevin talked about community and being bonded together. So, as we, as you may surmise, pass the light from each other, I ask you to think about the community. Think about Sunday Assembly as our community. Think about the community where you live. Think about the community where you work. Think about all of Orange County. Think about all of humanity. All of humanity, regardless of gender or race or belief or non-belief, political affiliation, that we really are all in this together. And it's really only through bonding together, being together, that we can really get through all of this. And when we do put all of our individual lights together, we create a tremendous glow that everyone benefits from. And so each, but together, we can light our community together. Kent?
We wanted to do We Wish You a Merry Solstice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're just going to do a cappella We Wish You a Merry Solstice. And then I had a couple of ideas. We wish you peace and reason. So we'll start with We Wish You a Merry Solstice. We wish you a merry solstice. We wish you a merry solstice. We wish you a merry solstice and a happy new year. Once more, wish you a merry solstice. We wish you a merry solstice. We wish you a merry solstice and a happy new year. Now bring us some peace and reason. Now bring us some peace and reason. Now bring us some peace and reason. Now bring us some peace and reason and a happy new year. Now bring us Sunday Assembly. Now bring us Sunday Assembly. Now bring us Sunday Assembly. Now bring us Sunday Assembly and a happy new year. This one's for me. Now bring us another Star Wars. Now bring us another Star Wars. Now bring us another Star Wars. Now bring us another Star Wars and a happy new year. But we have to wait a whole year for it. Once more, we wish you a merry solstice. We wish you a merry solstice. We wish you a merry solstice. We wish you a merry solstice and a happy new year. That's all I got. Oh, Michelle has one.
Yes, it's not a song, but it's a thought that a friend sent me on the internet. And she is expecting a second child. And her oldest child is about the age of, how old's your little boy?
3.
3, yeah. Her oldest child is about 3. And as many 3-year-olds do when they are about to get a new baby, he asked his mother, will you still have love for me? And so she took a candle and she lit a candle. And then she took another candle and she lit another candle from the first candle like we did. And she showed him that now she had 2 candles and there was more light, less but not less, there was more light and there was plenty to go around. And candle light, candle fire, like love, is one of those things that the more you share, the more you have. So I encourage you all, like we shared our candlelight, to share your love this season, because the more you share it in our community, the more you take it out and love other people and help other people, the more you yourself will have.
All right, so do we blow them out or what do we do now? Blow.
Thank you.
Happy December, whatever you want to do.
Merry Solstice. Whoa! Happy Solstice Day.